insecurity has become a major problem, a very serious problem in our country. The main thing we want to discuss today is what is the main cause of this insecurity that we are dealing with in our country. For me personally, I'm of the opinion that the clash of the interests of the rival of the two main political parties is the main reason for this insecurity. The parties being PDP and the party formerly called CPC, which has transitioned to a coalition of parties called APC. I am of the opinion that the clash of the clashing interests of these political parties, the factions in these parties as well, is the main reason for the insecurity problem in Nigeria.
Insecurity in Nigeria, for me, I believe I am not of the opinion that insecurity in Nigeria is majorly tied to political affiliation or political parties. I feel insecurity in Nigeria, it started right from the inception of the country called Nigeria, right from the amalgamation of Nigeria in 1914. I feel insecurity is more than just political affiliation.
Now, political parties in Nigeria. When we're talking about political parties, we're not just talking about the names of the political parties, we're talking about the interest involved. We're talking about what one person wants. What government position is this person looking for, or is this person gunning for? You understand? And this clashes of interest, I think, is not necessarily related to the problem of the tribal differences or the problem of what came about as Nigeria was amalgamated and Nigeria became a country. I think that it is related to the present day political the clashes between the political parties in this country. When you look at the government of PDP and APC, for example, you look at how in the past APC government, or then CPC, was coming against Jonathan, or our president then, Goodluck Jonathan, for how he was handling the insecurity problem in Nigeria, the problem of Chibok girls, etc. We can trace it in a lot of ways too. How the political party then was supporting groups or sympathizing with groups that were targeting or causing the insecurity problem in Nigeria. And I think that it has not fully gone away.
One of the major reasons why I fully believe that insecurity in Nigeria is not just based on political affiliation or because of politics. It is because I believe that everything politics is going to hinge on in order to causes insecurity is based on the fact that we already divided as a country. In fact, we are not supposed to be a country at first, because we are so many nations embedded in the name called Nigeria. For me, there are so many ideologies that does not resonate with people in this, that they resonate with people in the north, but does not resonate with people in the south. You get? So people who want certain political affiliations tend to cringe on those ideologies and cause certain kind of ideologies in those particular regions against the interests of the people. I know my opponents, my friend, will also want to try to hinge on the facts of the emergence of Boko Haram, where it is alleged that some certain political parties are the sponsors of these organizations. But I want to let you know that insecurity did not even start just in this era. Insecurity has been right from the inception of Nigeria, because right from our inception we started having issues right from the First Republic coup, when Major Cardinal Nzogu, those people who took the first coup. After then, it was as if Nigeria was in a mayhem. Nigeria was not a nation right from the time, because we have different ideologies. What people believe in the north is not what they believe in the south. The emergence of Boko Haram, for instance, let's take it for instance. Boko Haram emerged prior before 2009, where it became so violent. Boko Haram existed before that time, but they were not violent. Boko Haram was like an ideology against Western education, predominantly in the north. But because it resonates with the ideology of majority of people in the north at that time, so they never saw it as an issue. But at a certain time, it became violent. But because they were already sentimental about some certain issues, about the people who are carrying out these activities, they left it over time. And then it started ravaging their society. So, but those people in the south, we are already ringing the bell that these people, this ideology is not good. It was as if there was a conflict of interest between the south and the north. You get the point now. And if there is division, there is no way you are going to tell me that we are going to fight insecurity in this country and win.
Now, my opponent has talked about how Nigeria became a country, about the issues that led to the Civil War. And granted, these are problems. I'm not denying that these problems have existed and are still a issue in what are still issues in what is Nigeria today. But what we are talking about now is the present day insecurity in Nigeria. What is the cause of it? If you look at Boko Haram, yes, Boko Haram has existed as a sect for a long time in the north, and the north was particularly to a large extent sentimental towards Boko Haram. But let's be honest with ourselves. Who gave them sponsors? Who gave them the money to become a serious threat, to get all the weapons and the ammunition that they have today? Look at Fulani herdsmen. Where did they get the weapons? Where did they get the resources to carry out systematic and strategized attacks against major communities, against major local governments in the north and the middle belt? Where are they getting their money from? Where are they getting their sponsors from? This is what we're talking about. And when we look at it, we come to the conclusion that it at least has a lot to do with the political rivalry, or the rivalry between the main political parties in Nigeria. When we have a political party that is trying to unseat the present political party in power, they are going to do things to try and discredit the government in power. They are going to try and poke holes in the results or in what they feel that the government is achieving or is accomplishing. And you see that when one government when one government has been unseated and the next government comes into play, you might see some adjustments or some things that have been made, and you now realize that the insecurity problem is like a fire that you start but you don't really know how to control, or you don't really know the full end result or what is going to bring about. So you can see that even though, yes, Nigeria has always had problems, Nigeria has always had issues from the root, but you can look at the different political parties and you can see that in one political party they can be Muslim, or they can be Christian, or they can be Easterner or Southerner or Northerner. All of them having different ideologies. You look at throughout Nigeria, you can see different ideologies in different states, and yet there's still some level of coexistence. But the issue now is the insecurity. What caused it? And you can see from everything that has unfolded, we can tell ourselves the truth that it is because of the political ideology, or the political interest, the clashing interest between the political parties, and how one government is trying to fight against itself in a sense, because both the political parties in Nigeria make up the government, make up the sitting government. When you have people in power that are sentimental towards terrorists, towards people that are causing harm in our country, we can tell ourselves the truth that, you know, the clashing interest is the main reason why we have insecurity in this country.
I also want to state that you cannot tell me that it is political parties who sponsors you call kidnappers, you call Fulani herdsmen, you call Boko Haram, you call ISWAP, you call so many organizations. In fact, there are so many names that we cannot even mention at this time. You cannot tell me that all these franchises are being sponsored by political parties. Now, listen, let me give you a point. Let me give you something that hits differently. If you check the statistics of the world, majority of the countries that practices terrorism in a high extent, in fact in a large scale, majority of them have divisions within them. There is difference in ideology, there is difference in modes of thinking. That is the cause of where you get a scenario where somebody is being caught in the act of terrorism, and then you find the person in your streets the next day. Why? Because the person who is supposed to charge this person for terrorism believes that he did not commit terrorism. The person who is supposed to charge this person has the same ideology with this person, just that he's been clothed on a uniform. You get situations whereby people are being sponsored. You get situations whereby people are being reinstabilitated, or people are being rehabilitated back into the society. And you get situation where you hear people say repentant terrorists or repentant Boko Haram, or as the case may be, and then you recruit them into your armed forces. Like, make that make sense? It can only be an ideology where those in power believe, where those in power who are within the corridors of power have that same ideology that they have, that the other people do not have. I don't know if you get me. Like, for instance, in the south, let me say for specifically in the southeast, majority of people do not believe that when somebody is being caught in the act of terrorism, that person should be that person should be brought back into the armed forces, even if you rehabilitate the person for 10 years. But ironically, some parts of the north, or will I say places in the north, believe that once somebody once such people drop down their weapon and say, oh, we are no longer terrorists, you rehabilitate them and then put them back to your armed forces. Make that make sense. Selective justice is no justice at all. And when there is no justice, insecurity will certainly continue. When people are not punished for their crimes, people then tend to see those crimes as a leverage. Those people tend to continue in those crimes because they believe they are not going to be punished.
Now, it is very true there are countries that have clashing ideologies and maybe clashing modes of operation in the way the country was formed. They tend to have a problem with terrorism. But the issue now we're talking about here is this: what is the main cause of the insecurity problem? They can have the issues, but then again, what is what sponsors the terrorism? What sponsors the terrorism? What sponsors the insecurity? You can have rough patches in the formation of your country. You can have rough patches in a country's history. It does not mean that it will directly relate to insecurity. Many countries have had rough patches and they are not they are not experiencing terrorism today. They are not suffering from the insecurity problem on the level that Nigeria is experiencing it. If you look at Nigeria, Nigeria has always had some level of what word would I use? Nigeria has always had issues of coexistence to a large degree, to a very high degree, right from our time of independence, since independence. Then again, it does not mean that we have always had this level of insecurity where you look and you hear news and something is happening in one state, kidnapping here, killing here, death in one community, death in another community. We have to ask ourselves the real question: where are they getting their sponsorship? What is the motivation that is driving these people to do these things? And I will be honest with you, I genuinely think it is politically motivated. I believe that there are political actors that have interest, that sponsor these people to carry out what they want them to accomplish. I believe that these actors are the reason why there's even some level of economic hardship in Nigeria, to make these people to be dependent on them, and they will give them money, give them weapons, and tell them, go and kill so people, go and wreak havoc in so community.
Okay. So
if you need to even put voiceover later to clarify it, you just put voiceover.
John, I think we'll just do that last part of this rain. Bless you, no go do and for this because of this rain. Because of this rain. Let's go now. At the end of the day, insecurity does not know your political party. Insecurity does not know your name. Insecurity does not want to know where you are from.
You no sabi your family member. You no sabi the school where they go.
So, if you see something,
say something.